Hey guys, Tisha here, ready to review The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's go. We start off with this episode with Kandi and Courtney still going at it. Candy's ready to headbutt Courtney, and the ladies telling Sheree about Martell. This Courtney situation is annoying to me because it's obvious that Courtney is putting 20 on 10 just to have some type of storyline. I wouldn't be surprised if Sheree and her probably worked this out off camera, just like Sheree worked out her fake relationship with Martell off camera. Kenya informs Sheree that Martell reached out to her as recently as 6 months ago in her DM. We already know that he deleted these messages, so I already know that this conversation is not going to go well for Kenya. Sheree has now designated Kenya as one of Kandi's minions, saying that basically Kenya thought she was going to give her that information to ruffle feathers. What else do they do besides talk about Sheree? And honestly, Sheree, you're not that important, especially with all the other businesses that those two ladies in particular have. The last thing that they're worried about is you. You guys are filming a show, and at this current time, you are the topic of discussion. We then go back to Kandi, where we see Sonya letting Kandi know that she met up with Courtney last week, and Courtney was speaking about her. And Don Juan said, oh, so Courtney is Sheree's friend. That explains it. And Don Juan is me in this situation, because the fact that you all sat there and had a conversation with someone who is Sheree's friend about Kandi, and you did not let her know, and Sheree, out of all people, is introducing her, I'm not surprised. Kandi says that she's annoyed because Sanya, whatever her name is, did not let her know. Why would Sonya let Kandi walk into mess? I don't understand how, if, as we found out later on, you even went on family vacation with them, how you wouldn't tell her that that conversation was had prior to her coming to the birthday party so that she would not be blindsided. That's not your friend, girl. We then see Sonya's messy tail tell Sheree that Courtney was about to fight Kandi. Sheree says Courtney doesn't even fight, which then further makes me try to figure out why she was so aggressive when she was talking to her. Kenya's trying to bring up, when they all gather around, that Kandi is upset. And Kandi is like, look, we don't have to talk about this right now, because Kandi knows the scene was already had. We then see Sheree saying that the girls pulled her to the side to talk about Martell. Sheree tells Kandi that even though she said that she wants to know certain information, really what she wants is all the receipts. Sonya walks away and says that she's not about this, it's about her husband's birthday. I don't understand why you didn't relay that information when Courtney was doing all the stuff that she was doing to Kandi, but it's evident to me that Sonya is gonna, I'm gonna call her S, because I keep wanting to call her my aunt's name, and it's spelled the same way, so I don't know if you guys are gonna get irritated by the fact that I'm saying it wrong or what. So, you'll know who I'm talking about, okay? Anyways, I don't even know where I was, and I'm not editing that out. Kandi asks, how do you feel about Martell sliding in Kenya's DMs? Sheree says she wants to see it. We then see Martell telling Sheree to go into Kenya's messages. She's probably accepting everyone's messages. And the way that he said it was really like, if you go into her messages, you're going to see that she's accepting everybody's messages, which is basically making it seem like she's a hoe. We're going to call it what it is. If you've seen Martell on his show on OWN, you would see that this is what he does. He's very messy, he's very condescending, and he's a liar. So the fact that he's moving the way that he's moving does not surprise me. Martell denies it at first, saying that he's never ever reached out to her. And then when Kandi tells him to pull up the messages, he goes into his DM, finds it, and says that the message was sent 2 years ago. We already know that he deleted the other messages, and he knows it too. So him being so quick to show Bravo that it happened in 2020 is just him trying to make Kenya look like she's a bad guy. And part of me wishes that Kenya did not say anything, because you've seen time and time again how Sheree is when it comes to certain things. And you should have known that if she went through the trouble of bringing this man on the show, that she was going to defend him. They go back and forth. Kenya said once a cheater, always a cheater, and Martell is definitely that. Kenya points out that his behavior is similar to the behavior of Bob. Bravo does a flashback of Bob basically admitting to choking Sheree in the past. Kenya was extremely upset and going at Martell, and I'm wondering if they cut something out, because she really went in. Sheree takes Martell to the side. He says it's 2 years ago. They end up leaving, and Martell claims that he's offended and that he was ambushed. And the problem with this whole thing is that Kenya approached this conversation in the wrong way. If she would have told Sheree this information at another time, I don't think it would have been this big of a blow up. I kind of wish that she didn't say anything at all, because as I said before, Sheree wouldn't have accepted it either way. I don't even think she would have accepted it if she had receipts. On Kandi's Speak On It, Kenya goes into further detail talking about how there were multiple messages and that she didn't respond, but she did see them. And I feel like what happened was Martell shot his shot. She didn't respond to anything. Once he started talking to Sheree, he probably deleted them. It is very possible for you to see a bunch of messages sitting in your Instagram account on the section where people are requesting to be your friend, or where you get DMs from people that aren't your friends. You can still see what they wrote. You may not always see the full message, but you can see the first few lines or the first picture or whatever. So I don't think Kenya is lying about it. I just wish she never said anything about it, because now this is giving Sheree more of a storyline to be on TV. We then see Drew and her husband meeting back from her trip to go see her father. It looks like she had the boys, and that Ralph had the girls. She tells us that her father has Alzheimer's, and it's just really hard to see him not being mobile and struggling to remember who they are and things of that nature, and how her mother is forced to be strong, and how she even had to be strong even though she had some breakdown moments. She said that at one point she turned on music and she showed her father's reaction to hearing the song that her and her husband did together, and how it helped him. She said it kind of brought back his memory of her, and you could see that he was excited when he heard it. Drew talks about all the groups that she's been in before, her single, and how music has helped bring her and Ralph together as well. She jokes and says that this is the best place they've been in for years. And I think this is so unfortunate, because we all know currently that they both have filed for a divorce. So to go from this point where you felt like this was the best place that you guys been in a long time, to now knowing that later on in the season we're going to see the demise of your marriage, is sad. We then see Kandi meet up with Sonia, and I'm not a fan of Sonia. I wanted to be, but I'm not. Kandi and Sonia vacationed together, as I said before, at Disney, but Sonia didn't feel the need to speak up for her friend when they were talking about her. Sonia talks about her family and how her husband is ready for them to move out. And she also talks about like how her mom didn't want to go to Florida and all these other things. And she asks Kandi about how things are going with her and Todd. And she says that Todd is not really feeling a lot of support from her. And then they talk about the party and how Courtney was doing too much. Sonia talks about what happened at the house when she met up with Sheree and Courtney, and how basically Courtney said that when looking at her stories or whatever, that Kandi attracts a ghetto audience. When asked by Kandi what was her response to that, she claimed that she took up for Kandi, but we see in the flashback that she laughed. I don't call that taking up for Kandi. If you talk about one of my friends and you say something off the wall like that where you're trying to demean them, I'm going to check you. Even if it's funny, I'm going to check you, because that wasn't called for. You knew that they were trying to shade her, and that wasn't right. Kandi says that she doubts that she took up for her, and Kandi, you're right. We then see Sanya on the phone with her husband Ross while he's in Texas working on his business. And they're talking about making baby number 2. And I don't believe this storyline. There's no way you guys are talking about making baby number 2 and you're saying that he's away too much. So are you going to move to Austin where the business is so that y'all can focus on baby number 2? I don't quite understand, and I don't think that that's real. But I didn't really see a lot of last season to know the dynamics of that situation. We see Kandi and Todd at Blaze, where they talk about revamping things, as well as him making other business moves. He talks about wanting to do the Mexican spot and wanting to do like Ace's Pizza spot. Don't do too much, Todd. Times are hard right now, and a lot of us aren't spending money like we used to. So the fact that you want to create additional businesses while Kandi is saying that you all need to try to get the traffic coming back to this current spot, I'm with Kandi. I feel like you're trying to use the money from the restaurant to finance what you really desire to do, which makes me feel like you may not put your all into your restaurants. I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it. We see that Kandi's cousin comes into the restaurant and he's wearing a sling. And the producer tries to be messy, asking about the elephant in the room. Now, we know that there was a shooting at, I believe it was at Old Lady Gang in the parking lot, that happened with Kandi's cousin. Obviously, Kandi has already spoken with his cousin about this thing. Us seeing her cousin walk into the restaurant with the sling does not mean we automatically think shooting. Some people didn't even know about the shooting. But with that being said, he's obviously still healing because he has on a sling. There was no need for it to be said. And if it was something that was going to be said, I doubt that it would be brought up as soon as the man walks into the restaurant. That would be something that comes along later on in conversation. So I didn't like the fact that the producer did that. We see them then show some of the articles about what happened, the cast responding to it. Kandi says, like, I'm not trying to hide what happened, which she's not, because she talked about it in the first episode. She talks about how violence has been on the rise, and it's sad. We see Sheree throw shade, saying that at Old Lady Gang, are we getting biscuits or bullets? And even though she meant this as a funny line, there's certain things to me that aren't funny, and that is one of those things. And I just feel like these people are not really your friend. We then see Kenya playing tennis with Brooklyn and her play date. She speaks with her friend who is married to a football player about her divorce that is still ongoing after over 2 years. And KMC, the guy she's dating, and she seems very happy. And it's nice to see this side of Kenya. I think for a long time, Kenya has been the villain, and I'm enjoying seeing other aspects of her. I really feel like her daughter has softened her on some things, and I can see that she wants better and she wants more. We then see Sheree and Sonya meet up, where Sheree talks about being a glam mom and the mess at the party. They both talk about how Kenya puts labels on these black men and how it's not right. But in my opinion, we've seen these black men display the labels that are being put on them. We are not about to sit here and act like Martell was not aggressive in that scene. Just because someone doesn't physically touch you does not mean that they are not being abusive. I think too many times the community, black community in particular, has made it okay for people to be disrespected and talked to inappropriately, and we need to call it what it is. If you don't think he's been aggressive on this show, then if you watch Love and Marriage Huntsville on OWN, go watch it. You will see how aggressive and disrespectful he is with not just men, but women in particularly. Even his children's grandmother, on the week before last episode, he got all in her face and was being very belligerent with her. More than what you just witnessed with Kenya. I need you to see it for yourself, because I feel like Bravo is going to kind of ride this thing out a little bit. I know that there had to be some type of talks between the two of them in order for Martell to appear on this show, just like we're going to see Sheree on the other show. But it's so interesting that I feel like they're trying to make Martell look like a good guy up here, and he's not. Sheree is not a girl's girl. I said that earlier. You aren't friends, because the way that she's speaking about Kenya, even now currently on social media, the things that she's been saying about Kenya and Candy, it's like, okay, girl, it's not that deep. Kenya brings up how with her and Sheree both being in aggressive relationships, that she's trying to kind of protect her friend. I wish Kenya never got in his face and responded the way that she did. Do not give these people ammo to use against you. And also, like, ladies, let's be real. And I'm not condemning any type of back and forth with men and women, or for those people who are in same sex. We have to have a level of respect for one another. But as a woman, I'm not getting in any man's face. I'm not doing it, because there are men who are not gentlemen. And unfortunately, there's more violence out there now towards partners, we'll say partners, than there should be. And I feel like instances like these show sometimes how that can play out. And I want to make it clear, I'm not agreeing with what was done on either side. I feel like Candy said, it really wasn't that deep for it to even get to that point. But once it got to that point, no one de-escalated the situation. No one removed themselves. Say your point and keep it moving. But the back and forth, especially with someone as ignorant as Martell, is not going to work. We then see Drew go to the studio talking about her EP with one of Candy's, I believe he's Candy's, because I've seen him on Candy's show before too, engineers who also can produce. He's asking about the dynamic between Drew and Ralph. Drew says that music for them brings balance. And I'll be honest, I didn't really care about that scene. They're going to work on her EP. We see Sheree at her distribution center. They said it's her distribution center. That ain't Sheree's distribution center. Sheree done run it out of part of somebody's warehouse. And I refuse to believe that that building is all hers. We see that she's talking to one of the ladies, and she says they got like 300 orders to do. It was 270 something, but we're just gonna say almost 300 orders. in a day. And I want to know who's ordering this stuff, because I didn't really see a lot of people speaking about it. Me personally, I'll get mine off Amazon or Shein because it's a lot cheaper. Kenya meets Sheree and they talk about Martell and dating. Kenya says that she didn't deserve to be cursed out like that. She was calm. Sheree says that Martell felt ambushed. I don't understand how he felt ambushed, because if I recall correctly, Sheree's the one that called him over there. The ladies pulled her to the side to have a conversation with her. And when she was being told some of the things that she was being told, she's the one who said that she wanted Martell to come over there. So you kind of helped aid in that ambush, if that's what we're going to call it. Sheree's now saying in her confessional that Martell told her about the DM way before all of this, because they talk about everything, and that she already knew about it and it was just one DM. And if that was really the case, Sheree, if he really did tell you that about that a while ago, why didn't you bring it up at the party? Y'all playing in our faces. Kenya is saying how she was disrespected by him and how he basically called her a hoe by saying that he bet she accepts everyone's messages. And Sheree felt like she was reaching, and she doesn't believe it, and she needs to stop labeling these black men. And she said that last year she said that Ross was aggressive when he was trying to defend his wife, and now this year Martell is a piece of crap, according to Kenya, and that we can't keep labeling these men. I'm sorry this review is all over the place, but I'll be honest, I really wasn't feeling it, because I feel like without showing who Martell is, a lot of these people are going to be coming for Kenya. But see, the thing about it is, and Kenya said it and Candy speak on it, that she's watched Martell on his other episode on his actual network from season 1, episode 1. And I believe they're like on season 5 or 6 now. So she's seen a lot of the things that have played out, such as Martell having gotten women pregnant and them getting rid of the kids and getting them pregnant again, and cheating on his wife and having a baby, which I feel like she was already planning on getting divorced, but that was the final deal, and how he's now trying to get them back, and how he's showing up unannounced in places, and how he blamed his wife for the reason why he cheated, and how his wife has supported him financially and allowed him to act like he was the breadwinner when he wasn't, and how he's just been trash. She's seen this. So a lot of what she's saying is factual because we've seen it play out. But unfortunately, a lot of the Bravo audience is not the same audience as what we see on OWN for Love and Marriage Huntsville. I kind of feel like it's a different audience, and I could be wrong, but there isn't a lot of crossover. On Speak On It, Candy said that she's never seen an episode of the show that he comes from. So with that being said, I feel like there's a lot of things that we're missing. I would have loved for Bravo and for OWN to come together and show clips of the other people on their shows. Like, how great would it have been to see a clip of Martell showing up unannounced at his daughter's party that he was not supposed to be at, causing a scene, then cussing out her mom? How great would it have been for them to show a clip of Martell sitting there basically telling his wife that he misses his family and he wants them back? How great of it would have been for them to show some of the lives and stuff from Instagram where he's up there with his son's mother, who he goes back and forth with, who got mad when she found out that he was dating her words, old lady from Bravo. There's a lot that we're not seeing. So for those of you who don't care for Kenya and what she says, understand that what she's saying does have some context. Now, we haven't seen the whole thing because I feel like she said, you cursed me out, whatever, whatever. I feel like there's some stuff that we didn't see because Kandi did agree with what she was saying on Speak On It. So I want Bravo to like, let us know what we're missing. Because I'm going to be honest, I feel like the producers like Sheree. Because there's no way that, you know what, I'll leave that to myself. We'll see what happens in the future. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.